In this video, we're going to show you how to install the perfect Tobermore patio, and we're going to take you through that process step by step. Before starting, it is important to check and be aware of the locations of any services such as oil, gas, water, and electric. You will need the following tools, equipment, and PPE. Shovel, string line, pins, screeding rails and bar, plate compactor with rubber protective mat, cement mixer, spirit level, soft brush, masonry saw, mini digger, high-vis vest, safety boots, dust mask, gloves, ear protection, safety glasses. Some other materials you may need. In this situation, we're using an MOT type 1, or what you would know as 40mm to dust or blinded. Sharp sand for the laying course, kiln dried sand for jointing, sand and cement for concreting the curbs. You may also require drainage channels and recessed manhole covers. All these materials can be purchased from your local builders merchants. The first step is the excavation process. To work out the depth that you need to dig out, certain things need to be considered. You will need to take into consideration the depth of the flag, the laying course, which should be 30mm thick, and the sub-base layer, which should be 100mm thick. So now we're going to install our edge restraints. In this case, we're using the Tobermore curb stones. Edge restraints are paramount for the structural integrity of your patio. When installing your edge restraints, it's so important to use a string line to achieve the correct level. Edge restraints need to be bedded on a mortar bed. In this case, we're using a 6:1, 6 sharp, 1 cement. Okay, we're laying our curbs now. We're working to the string line, and we're using the bolt level and the level as we go. It's so important that we maintain what we're doing, just ensuring that we know that it's level on the top. It's level on the top. So a final check with your level at the back, on the top, and from the inside. Well, it's important now that we've checked the line, we've checked the curb on the back, we've used the level, we know where we are, everything's in place now. Now we're going to back up our curb stones with some concrete and haunch it from behind. Now it is time to install the sub-base layer. The sub-base layer must be installed with a slight fall. The sub-base is extremely important as it gives the patio its structural integrity and prevents any sinkage. So we're doing the final preparation for this sub-base for this proposed patio area. Some people ask me, how do we achieve the falls with the patio? For this patio, we're using a 1 in 80 fall. So what we have is 3.8 meters from A to B. We divide the 80mm into the 3.8, giving us a 47.5mm drop from one end to the other end. This fall should be created in the sub-base, not the laying course. It's essential to have a fall on your patio. Sitting and standing water is simply not good. To create the fall in the sub-base, place a string line at the finished level at the highest point and run it to a wooden peg at the lower end. Use a string line spirit level to check its level. At the low end, measure down the string line 47.5mm. Place a wooden peg at this level. This now indicates where the sub-base material needs to be brought up to. You can do these in various locations to guide you. Pour in the type 1 aggregate and distribute using a shovel. Measure the depth, making sure you have installed 100mm. Now compact the aggregate using a vibrating plate compactor. When compacting, you will need to do several passes with the plate compactor until a fully compacted sub-base layer has been achieved. For a Tobermore patio or driveway installation, you need to use a sharp, gritty sand, and that sharp, gritty sand needs to be moist enough to form a ball. Spread out the sand with a spade or rake, then compact it with a single pass of the plate compactor. Now we come to the screeding of the sand. This should be done with screeding rails and a screeding bar. Set the screed rails into the sand laying course and use the screeding bar to drag off any excess sand. This creates one smooth and consistent 30mm sand laying course, which the flags can be laid on. The slab that we are laying, we will ensure that the slab is 3 to 5 mil above the edge and restraint for final compaction. Now we have to remove the screed rails, and what happens when you remove the screed rails, you're actually left with a void. So we need to fill those voids in, like so, and float off as we come back. So important that you maintain a 2 to 5 mil joint between each slab. The 2 to 5 mil joint is so important. One, it will allow you to get the sand down into the joint, and two, it will allow for those minor adjustments that need to be corrected and giving it good alignment. I'm making these final adjustments to ensure that the line of our slabs is straight and correct. So we finally laid all the 4 slabs in this patio. The only thing that's left to do now is to put these 2 cuts in. So important when you're putting these cuts in, the cut edge needs to be to the border. So the patio is now complete. We've got the final cuts in. The only thing that's left to do now is to brush the kiln dry jointing sand into the joints. But remember, it's essential to wear your PPE. So important when you're brushing your sand in that you brush at a 45-degree angle. This will ensure that you're not pulling the sand out of the joints. So there you are. There's only one more thing left to do on this patio, and that's to run the compactor plate over. But remember, when using a plate compactor, it's essential to use a rubber mat with every installation. The rubber mat will ensure that you don't scrape or scuff your paving. Well, there you are, the patio is now finished, and I'm sure that you'll agree with me, it's looking absolutely fantastic. This patio was done using the Tobermore Classica Golden.